Imagine you're scrolling and you're scrolling and you're scrolling through Instagram for posts, and it's the usual. You're looking for memes, you're looking for jokes, you're looking for anything that might give you a laugh. And while scrolling, you come across this particularly politically instigating meme, particularly provocative meme. You come across this um, particularly offensive name, something that you would take offense to if you weren't joking around with your friends, or something that at least other people would take offense to if they weren't joking around with their friends, right? um, and you don't really pay attention because it doesn't mean a lot to you, because it's just a meme, right? It's just a joke. I mean, who really cares? But if you think about it, then humor is the best way to spread propaganda, since when an idea comes off as trivial to the brain, it also comes off as extremely tolerable to the brain. And of course, I've got my notes here with me, right? But I experienced something very, very similar just a few hours ago. I kept scrolling. I was in a bit of a rut, and I come across this particular joke that would have sparked controversy, or at least it should have been worthy of sparking controversy, or at least sparking a conversation regarding reason, right? At least something that seems questionable, because there is some sort of logical fallacy embedded within the essence of the joke itself, or within the punchline of the joke itself, right? And that is when you really, that's what really makes it funny, is what I would say. But at the same time, it's also what makes it extremely um, easy to get inside your brain. And that's because it's funny, and that's why our brain will accept that particular idea without giving much thought, or without giving much resistance to it, because it doesn't necessarily mean anything to us at that point of time. Thing being is that you have to understand that Instagram, TikTok, and all of these tech conglomerates, all of these companies are designed to not only steal your attention, but b keep you hooked onto the app as long as possible. So not only do you dig your own grave here by consuming a special type of content, because or not only consuming a special type of content, but enthusiastically consuming it, since Instagram knows, I mean, it is a multi-billion dollar company with, a lot of money going towards R&D, a lot of money going towards uh, research, to make more money and to consistently keep every customer hooked on as long as they can, because that's what their main line of profit is. Apart from that, if there is a deeper agenda here, at least certain states, certain organizations want want a certain type of agenda to be passed on through the internet, because currently the internet is the easiest way to do it. If certain people, certain circles of people were to decide that a certain point of view should be propagated through the internet, regardless if it was true, or regardless if it was right to believe in it or not. If propaganda was to be spread, then it would probably be done in this way, because again, like I said, and I read from my notes here, humor is the best way to spread propaganda, since when an idea is perceived by your mind as trivial, it is also perceived by your mind as tolerable. And how this works is, you start off doing something extremely trivially, you start off laughing at it, but as you consume more and more of the content, because you're laughing at it, you will obviously, you'll start liking the particular posts, or you'll start liking the particular TikTok or Instagram reel, or whatever it is that you're trying to consume. You'll start liking it, and Instagram will know that you are interested in this type of content, in this line of the Instagram will know that these lines of beliefs uh, appeal to you particularly, and so it suggests more type of that content to you, because Instagram wants to make more money, and the way they make more money is by keeping you hooked onto their app. And Instagram has learned that the only way you keep them hooked onto their app is by showing you content that you like. And well, if you like propaganda is what I'll call it at this point. If you like propaganda, then it will keep suggesting propaganda to you. Now, I don't mean to say that everything funny out on the internet is a form of propaganda, because it's not. But and because at the end of the day, it's all speculation as well. Not only is it not applicable to each and every joke out there on the internet, but it is also extremely speculative of me to say that if you were to propagate beliefs, it would or could be done through this system right here. But nonetheless, it is extremely still valid, and I think true up to a certain point. Because if you look at if you really look at trends as they go by, I'm not talking about brain rot or something like that. Brain rot is another topic for another day. But if you were to talk about particularly offensive or instigative topics, particularly provocative topics, something that provokes a reaction from both sides, something that might relate to geopolitics or cultural or ethnic issues, anything on those lines. If it were to do anything, if it were to uh, be joked about, then you obviously have people on both sides of the extremes commenting on these videos, making more videos of this sort and liking the videos, depending on which side of the radicalist point of view they support, right? And that's because it's meant to do that. At least I think so. At least I think that it's meant to do that to a certain point. It is meant to instigate a reaction from you, because it's what keeps you hooked to the app. And there is a side effect to that, which is not only does it keep you hooked onto the app, but it cultivates a wrong sense of character inside you. And maybe that is what causes, or that is why we get what we get. Especially, these 2024 was an extremely crazy year with when in regards to politics, when in regards to geopolitical cultural issues. We had people from both sides coming out of nowhere, engaging in particularly offensive things, particularly engaging in particularly violent acts on both sides of the spectrum. So there is not, I mean, it isn't our defense on one side. It is there is no two-party solution to this, because ultimately they're both trying to sell you the same thing. If you really think about it long enough, and if you really think about it deep enough, they're both trying to sell you the same thing. And because they're both trying to sell you the same thing, it doesn't matter which side you choose or which radicalist you are, as long as you are radical about it, right? And of course, radicalism is needed up to a certain point. Radicalism is needed when it comes to any and every sort of belief that you have about anything at all, because radicalism is how you define an opinion about anything. If you were to be extremely docile, if you were to choose a median path to everything, then there would not be any path left to follow, because you would choose a median of a median of a median of a median, which is essentially agreeing to almost anything that is out there, right? Basically, making equal compromises on both sides leads you almost nowhere, especially if there are circumstances such that people's lives or people's ideas or individualistic freedoms are at stake. Then you cannot make compromises, since any compromise will lead to a loss of another side's desired object of in an instance, their desired lives, or their desired freedoms, or their desired opinions, right? And this is especially prevalent in countries like America, first world countries basically, where we see making a compromise as the safest solution. But it's not always, because again, when these things are at stake, any compromise made is an automatic loss for the other side, for either side actually, since you are making a compromise and following a median solution. And you have to understand that you must scrutinize everything that you see on the internet, right? Everything and anything that you come across, any source of input that you come across must be scrutinized to the point of uh, to the point of, well, let's say judging it really hard. You must scrutinize everything until you judge it so hard that you cannot help but agree or disagree with it. And this is completely agree or completely disagree. If you were to choose a median path, then most likely, or as a best case scenario, you would uh, be better off providing yourself with a logical, valid reason as to why you're doing it, or why you choose a compromise over choosing a side. And not only that, but you must think about it extremely strategically, is what I would say. Because obviously your dopamine craving brain is going to play a part in this, and it plays a part in everyone's decision making, that's for sure. But you have to understand that humor can be achieved through any way. Just because something strikes you as really funny doesn't mean it should be followed. And at the same time, you should learn to laugh at things, because if you were to scrutinize everything, then everything becomes very grave, it becomes very bleak, and nothing becomes worth following anymore. And my action point, or my only actionable advice today, would be to scrutinize everything you see online, no matter how funny it is, no matter what it is, before deciding to move on from the thought, right? But always do it after you're done laughing, after you're done marveling at whatever joke it is, after you're done judging how funny it is, or after you're done talking about it to your friends. Scrutinize, just give it a thought as to why you did what you did. Just scrutinize, or make out a path of reason as to why you did what you did. And once you have that sort of judgment, it won't be easy at first, but once you have that sort of judgment, you can really start to gain a perception of why what happens, right? And just as another bonus point before I conclude, you can go to any you can go to any end of the spectrum. You can go to any end of any spectrum where there are two opinions, maybe mainly an opinion that agrees with an offensive statement, and an opinion that does not agree or particularly disagrees with an offensive statement. These are usually the two points of view that exist, and both of them are equally funny, right? And again, our humor mechanism is not something that's extremely difficult to maneuver or difficult to manipulate, more so difficult to change, because it doesn't matter. As long as something's funny, we'll like it, no matter what sort of message is propagating. You just need to make sure that it's the right message that you're propagating while having fun. And I think that applies to a lot of life as well. Just make sure that you're doing the right thing while having fun, right?